Yeah.
Man, I'm about to cry. Miss Massey's last words were, "I'm sorry." Like, that is just mind-boggling to me. Her last words to the man who killed her was, "I'm sorry."
This episode is brought to you by my book, Innocent Guilt, found on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I'm Terrence Hardge with my co-host, Jamise Grace. Our guest today enjoys counseling people from all walks of life. Her heart is to help clients understand themselves, their environments, and relationships. She takes a down to earth, holistic, person centered approach to counseling and has experience counseling clients facing anxiety, depression, self esteem issues, childhood trauma, and many other challenges. She is a mother of four, and people are important to her. Welcome, Jessica Rae Bryant.
Thank
Welcome,
you. Thank you so
Jessica.
much. Hi. Thank you both. Thank you for having me.
I know for a fact that statement about I'm not going to waste my med kit was said, and I
And,
know
and it was said by the person who shot her.
who did the
Most
shooting.
all of the derogatory, insensitive comments were made by the man who shot her.
Including
Mm,
the statement at the beginning when he was joking going
Oh,
in
she's
about
probably dead in
she's
there.
probably dead.
That was
Yeah,
that was him. Yep.
yeah.
He's the one who went in. He led it. I don't know if the other guy was new or not, but he pretty much led the interaction. I almost wonder if he was upset with the other officer for having his camera on. He made a statement. He made a statement about the other officer. He called him a dip shit
oh,
after he
wow.
shot, after he killed a woman. And my mind went straight to he was upset because he had his camera.
One of the things that concerns me, and this may be pretty obvious, is the fact that we have so many situations where there isn't video. And so you end up relying on the reports of the officers, what they said, because he went out. Everything that was done immediately after she was killed, a lot of the statements to me were trying to set a stage for an alibi. Oh, the hot
Absolutely.
water's coming to my feet. He was
Mhm.
outside saying she set this whole thing up. Whether or not mental illness, whether or not that plays a factor in anything, what I saw was generally normal in terms of how a rational person would behave. I know folks who will say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. So I'm just really, really disturbed about how this turned out.
Yeah, she probably rebuked him. And this is on a spiritual note because she saw the spirit of racism. She saw
Yes,
it
I
coming.
100% agree with that.
absolutely.
She knew it. She saw it when she opened the
Hmm.
door. One of the first statements she made, the man who killed her said, "Why would we hurt you? You called
Mhm.
us," in a
That's
sarcastic
true.
tone.
Jessica, there are some Black women I love who say they won't even call the police in an emergency. Ladies, how were you all affected by the killing of Miss Massey?
Speechless like right now. You know,
Right.
it's mind-boggling. It's hard for I think anyone to wrap their mind around what happened, especially when you see it. It's one thing to read it in the newspaper or an article or something. It's another thing to actually witness something like that happening. It was a tragedy, a travesty, and it didn't have to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen. And so I think it affects women and men, anybody who's red blooded, anybody who has life inside of them. I think it would affect everyone the same way. And it looked like it was unfair, unjust, and without cause. I think the way that a Black woman would perceive it is that it was because she was Black. Because would this have happened to a woman of another race? That's the question.
It's
And the
really
answer is no.
yeah,
The answer is just,
yeah.
I mean, because we have the evidence. We have the evidence of this happening over and over and over again in the Black community. I can't imagine thinking this would happen to a Caucasian woman. I just can't. And that's what's so scary and so disheartening for me as a Black single woman. I am one of the people who absolutely will not call the police. Like that. It's just scary. And that it sounds like an oxymoron. It's scary to call the people who are supposed to protect you. That's where we are. We've had countless numbers of examples of how we are treated differently in the hospitals and now by police.
Mm-hmm.
This one affected me a lot differently. I can't say that I watched the entire 9 minutes of what happened to George Floyd, but I did watch the entire 20 minutes of this. I felt like I got to know her. I felt like I got to know her spirit. And I'm literally asking when I'm watching it, where is it going to go wrong? What's going to happen? It was terrible, the things that we heard the officer say before and after, because I felt like she was literally treated like an animal, shot down like a dog. And even the statements after, I'm not going to waste my med kit. Lots of disturbing things said going into it. I felt like she was bullied, but this one affected me differently because I felt like I knew her. She could have been my cousin. She could have been an aunt. She could have been a relative. So this one really hit differently.
The actual officer that shot her, it seemed like he had some racist issues there. I mean, or was all out racist. But the other one, I don't know how involved he was, but it just kind of showed the thinking of some individuals about the Black race, about Black women, that literally, okay, this person has no value and I can get away with this. If I do this, I can create a story and I can actually get away with this. Maybe because Black women are perceived aggressive or are perceived too dominant or whatever, or either they are dangerous, just like Black men or what have you, that we would be just in doing what we could do. So I think that he felt like nobody else would care too, or either if he did what he wanted to do, he wouldn't get in much trouble.
Yeah. I know we have a lot of people from different races who watch our show. And one of the things I'm really hoping that our white counterparts realize is that our experience is different. This is affecting Black women big time, but it's something that affects our whole race. Some people think that, okay, we had Obama as president, so racism must be gone. Some people actually think that. And it's like, okay, that's not the case.
Terrence, I don't even, sorry to cut you off, but I don't even know if it's blatant, because there's a difference between blatant racism, I'm a racist, KKK type of stuff, than how we are seen as a whole. And I think being able to devalue life so quickly was because of how we are seen as a whole. And that's so much bigger than race.
Yeah.
That's so much bigger than, I would prefer to encounter a racist and he's out loud and proud with it. That would be my preference, to be honest, because I know to stay away from you. But to have this type of mindset in the police field is just crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And everybody is talking about what she did or didn't do. I watched a video about how she should have done things differently. The civilian, okay, the person who called the police, the person who called the professionals. And to hear someone say, if she would have done this, she wouldn't have lost her life. And to know that in our community, people have literally done absolutely nothing and lost their life. There was nothing she could have done to save her own life. And she called the police for help.
Jamise, I agree with you 100%. And what I want to point out is, having spent a lot of time working in schools, just in terms of how Blacks are valued, I'm going to keep it 100. Even in the school system, there are some white people who do not see a Black kid the same way as a white kid. They're more inclined to see that individual as being a criminal, as not being there for an education. We're just seen differently. And I was raised differently. And that's one of the things I want people to know, our white counterparts to know. I grew up, my mom gave me explicit instructions about what I needed to do if I was pulled over by police officers. I was to keep my hands on the wheel. I was not to make sudden movements. Those were the instructions that were given to me as a Black man trying to mitigate me getting killed if pulled over. I don't think that those are instructions that white teenagers have to learn. Our lives, unfortunately, by many people are not considered as valuable.
No. And I wonder, is it institutionalized racism or is it individualized racism? Somebody like a police officer, is it based on how he was raised? Or would it have been based on how the police force deals with Black people. What do you guys think?
That's a
I
good
think it's a
question.
mixture of,
Yeah, I'm sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead, Terrence. No, I was just going to say, I think it's a mixture of both, but more so on the police force and the lack of training and the lack of teaching. Well, first of all, you can't teach a person how to be sympathetic. I'm sorry, you just can't teach that. Yeah, it's a lot that needs to be done, but I am so concerned about the safety of myself and my child and my family members. Like I'm concerned about that. I can't even focus on what can be done.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I'm definitely not that type of person who believes all white folks are racists. And to be honest with you, even doing this show is not something I'm a fan of doing. My default is peace. I like for folks to get along without getting too preachy. I was thinking about Esther in the Bible, where Mordecai said, if you don't speak up at a time like this, who's to know what's going to happen to you? Who's to know what's going to happen to the folks that you love? So God bless us with this platform. Hopefully we can help to try to change some mentalities.
This stuff is really, it really affects me. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about how to deal with these traumas in our community. I left work. I'm sorry. I left work because I was traumatized by seeing another woman killed for absolutely no reason at all. And I am enraged, and I think the enraged is necessary because it just can't keep happening.
Yeah. How do you deal with that? I think how a lot of Black women are feeling right now too, Jamise, and women in general. How can you mow down somebody like that? And when you are brown, when you are Black, when you are of the same ethnicity, and that person looks like that could have been your auntie, that could have been your sister, that could have been anybody, it hits you differently. I think it's personal now. And so, yeah, how does one deal with the trauma of just seeing it and knowing that it happened? What does it do to us as as a race of women? Like you went home, but it's like, what did you go home with? What were the thoughts that you have to deal with? Because those thoughts, if they're not dealt with properly, can turn into emotions that you have to that turn into mental health crises, turn into all kinds of issues within you. And this is why the Black race in general, there's a lot of anger in the Black, if you go to certain neighborhoods, you'll see people are just angry. That is not just because that neighborhood attracts angry people. There's a reason why that has happened. It's because of generational injustice. It's because we continue to see the same thing over and over and feel the same things over and over again. Microaggressions, outright aggressions, them making a very clear distinction between them and us. When you keep doing that to a people, anger, it ensues, but there's other small emotions, more vulnerable emotions that are actually taking place underneath that anger. So yeah, I
fear.
think to have to go ahead. Which one?
No, I just said fear. Fear is the primary emotion.
Oh yeah.
We are scared for our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Fear, I think, a level of vulnerability, like you said, which is fear, wanting to do something, all the post-trauma of just seeing that, being triggered by stories of our own family. So what does a race of people do with all of these things that are just compiled? They become very toxic within us. They become very toxic, and we need help. We have to reach for help as a result and do something about it. So I like what you said earlier, like you had to go home, and then earlier you did say something about what are we going to do? And I do think it's time to do something.
I
100%.
spoke to Jamise Grace when she was dealing with this at work. She was highly upset, and it took me a couple days to look at it. It was very difficult. It is a lot to carry. It is a lot to deal with, and hopefully we can find a way to mitigate them.
My daughter actually brought it to me. My daughter saw it on TikTok. My 15-year-old and then my 12-year-old also saw it. And they are seeing this woman get mowed down, get shot down, and hear the comments. And she's like, Mommy, I can't even watch that again.
Man, I'm about to cry. Miss Massey's last words were, I'm sorry. Like, that is just mind-boggling to me. Her last words to the man who killed her was, "I'm sorry." I,
Mm.
man, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I don't know. I have no idea what to do with it. And the primary reason we, as a people are so affected by this, whether we admit it or not, is because we know it could happen to us and not just anybody. And if it does, it's a very rare occasion. Like, we are the ones seeing year after year Black people being killed by police officers and maybe or maybe not getting away with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do. Like, there was nothing she did to deserve that. And to hear another person try to explain what she should have done differently to save her own life, which her life was in the hands of someone who was supposed to protect her, is I cannot wrap my mind around it. I just can't.
And
I
yeah,
can't.
there's nothing you can. How does hot water equal to a gun? Like, how, even if, let's say that she really was going to throw some hot water, why do you have to get killed? Why does the person have to get killed? George Floyd, why did he have to get killed for whatever it is? He didn't have a gun. These people, why do they think that their lives, some of these officers, oh, it's a life threat, it's a threat? They're teaching them to kill. They're not teaching them other ways of dealing with issues, even if
I
they're big
don't.
issues.
I think he made the decision that he was going to escalate the situation when he said, before she even opened her door, when he said she's probably in there dead, and he was agitated about her not opening the door fast enough. He had no reason to even go into her house. And I feel bad for even going there and saying he was escalating the situation to kill her. But that's the only thing I can see.
Mm-hmm.
He had no reason to escalate the way he did, especially right before he shot her. What caused you to escalate by somebody saying, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus"?
He seemed to feel emboldened to escalate. And actually want our viewers to know that I reached out to a couple of officers that I respect to invite them to come on our show to discuss appropriate policies. Unfortunately, their social media policies of their departments kept them from being able to join us. But in this case, he criticized her for not opening fast enough. Anybody could have been asleep. He didn't know she could have been in the bathroom. He didn't know what was going on with her. The way he talked to her was demeaning and bullying the entire
Very.
time, even asking for the ID. Well, this will go faster if you just give me your ID. The sort of drill type questions never treated her with respect and never treated her like an individual. And he was the one that told her to take care of the pot. It looked like she was executed, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it looked highly inappropriate, and it's very scary because I can't imagine anything that she could have done differently. And I agree with both of you all in terms of it looking demonic. When she
Mm-hmm.
rebuked him in the name of Jesus, the gun was drawn, quite satanic to me.
Oh yeah, and you know what? It also makes me wonder how a lot of people of other races see blacks, and the way that I think that a lot of times they see us is that we are nuisances. She was a nuisance. She was a bother. She was, annoying to him. He didn't feel like going to check on any black people in any black neighborhoods because most of the time, most of these people are this and that and the third. And
Yeah.
he preconceived ideas. She's probably high on drugs, just a stereotype. If this is a black woman calling in this neighborhood, then this must be happening. And therefore, this person is valueless. A preset mindset going in.
Yeah.
And
I,
on a bad day, that's not good.
I feel as if this was Miss Sally, if it had been a white lady, if she had had dementia and even said something crazy and even threatened to throw the hot water, she just would not have been executed. It wouldn't have happened.
I mean, we don't even have to feel like that. We have evidence of it. We have evidence of white people not being killed in situations where they actually should be. I've seen white people in situations with police officers where they are literally threatening the police officer's life and they don't even get as much as tased. That's how you know there is a disconnect and a difference between my Black skin and someone else who is not Black. It's evidence.
A Black man, they're taught to kill. A white person, they will tackle. They will run miles to tackle him, but they will shoot down a brother. But again, that goes back to the thing that we've been experiencing for the last 300-400 years, the value, the 3/4 person, the animal thing, the monkey thing. That is actually a real thing within some white families. I have clients that have told me that their families are racist. And they're very close clients. Like I see them all the time and they're like, hey, I married a Black person and this is what my family said. My family disapproved. You should have heard. I've never seen this side of my family before. But you don't know it until it's close, until one of them are about to marry or what have you. A lot of them don't see the Black man the same way. They don't have regard. Some of them don't even see them as men. They used to say boy. They used to say girl. I'll just self-disclose a little bit. I had a white lady call me girl just a couple of weeks ago. And it was an older white lady, but my body cringed. My soul moved in a way. And she saw, I tried to just, but I'm like, by this time, you should know that you don't call me girl. You don't do that. But I just kept on talking, but I absorbed the insult. I absorbed it. Another thing that happened last week is a white guy. He opened the door for me at first when walking to the gas station, but then coming out of the gas station, he slammed the door in my face. So that's a microaggression.
Yeah.
That's a micro. And then I had another incident. I told my kids about this. I'm like, I had a couple incidents with traveling down to Texas. Another incident was, I think they greeted the person who walked in before me, but when I walked in, 2 white gentlemen did not greet me. They were just looking at me, but they would not greet me, almost as if to say, this Black person that walked in, I wonder how he would feel about me greeting her, because I wonder which one of us is a racist. I don't know what the psychology is about that, but I was trying to think for them. But these are the things that we have to deal with in America as Black women and Black men. And yes, they are micro. Some of them are major, some of them are micro, but they still hurt. I noticed them. Was it like getting killed? Absolutely not. Nowhere close to it, but it's in my memory.
Yeah.
It's in my memory now. So I have to deal with that. We have to deal with that. And it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us to heal this. We got to help heal ourselves and stop treating one another badly. Stop treating our neighborhoods badly. Start helping ourselves. And that way we will heal from the inside out and not be looking for the outside in to help us. We need to heal from within. Our therapists, our counselors, our doctors, us, and stop the whole crabs in the barrel thing, not to go on a tangent. But if we don't help us, I don't know who will.
You have to find your peace from the inside. I see a lot of the microaggressions that you reference. On my end, you walk past a white lady and she clutches her purse, or you walk into your vehicle and suddenly they're scrambling to lock the door. You walking down a path, they step off the path as if you're getting ready to do something to them. And so one of the ways that I keep my sanity is just kind of realizing that folks are going to be who they are, that they're going to kind of be what they are, but I'm hoping that minds can be changed. I'm hoping that we can make things better. And I know we're fighting against a lot, coming off the heels of slavery, coming off the heels of the Jim Crow laws. It's just a different type that we deal with today, but this less than human mentality still permeates and it still affects us.
It's iniquity. It's iniquity in the bloodline, just like the generational curses are in. You'll see generational curses. The same thing happened to grandma, happened to mom, happened to me. I think also in the white lineage, there's generational curses of hatred. My grandmother.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother used to say the blue-eyed devil. And I like, grandma, don't say that. Don't say that. But I think there is hatred that does go way back. And sometimes folks, white people, and some other races may not even know why they hate the way they do. But grandfather hated, great grandfather, these slave owners, that's iniquity. It's something that the devil latches onto. And he says, I'm going to perpetuate this same nonsense, divide and conquer the people. If I can divide them, I can conquer them. So he uses the iniquity in the blood, Black person being killed and maybe the white person being the racist, and keeps on perpetuating that violence throughout our generations. It's the worst thing ever. It's not until a difference is made, and the difference being Christ, the difference being God Almighty, steps into the heart of both Black and white men, that you start seeing. And then I'm talking about real salvation. I'm not talking about religion, where you start seeing a difference.
You better preach.
Oh, yeah. It's preaching time, Terrence.
Jessica Rae Bryant, thank you for joining us. You brought a great air of compassion, and we want to thank you for everything that you shared.
My pleasure. It was really great being on here with you guys. Thank you for the honor of joining you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. At NAACP.org, you can join a network of activists standing up to injustice and answering the call for equality.